It is Jets Final Drive, an emergency edition here on trade deadline day. He is Zack Rosenblatt. I am Connor Hughes, and we're doing this breaking news show because the Jets have shocked the football world. We have been monitoring, Zack, over the last month or so, players who could be traded, players who wouldn't be traded. I think I speak for both of us when I say Sauce Gardner was not on anyone's mind, a player whom the Jets made the highest paid corner in the NFL just before they arrived and took off for training camp, is now gone. He has been sent to the Indianapolis Colts in exchange for 2 first-round picks and receiver Adonai Mitchell. The Jets now have 4 first-rounders over the next 2 years. Zack, we're still piecing together how this deal came together, but a little behind the curtain pull, I think, for viewers and listeners of this show. Whenever you get information as a reporter, you usually take it to your people within the building, whether that is Darren Muji, whether that's the people you talk to, whoever you talk to in the building for clarification, for confirmation. Anytime you talk to Darren Muji with anything that you hear, he says one thing and one thing over and over and over again. If the phone rings, I'm going to answer. And the reason for it is you never know what's going to be said on the other line, like 2 first-round picks and a receiver drafted in the second round a year ago for Sauce Gardner, who's now a member of the Colts.
Yeah. I mean, this is shocking. This is the most shocking trade I've covered in my time covering the NFL. I'd say I'm mostly happy that it didn't happen while I was in Mexico. I was worried something like this would happen when I was on
trying
vacation.
To vote. I was out of the voting booth, and I looked down and saw my phone. It's like, well, I guess I'm going home.
I was literally at a coffee shop waiting to pick up my dog from the groomer when this happened. So at least I was by my laptop. But, I mean, I'm in shock. Like, I'm still processing what happened here. I think we'll be processing this for a few days, a few weeks. But I think the big headline here is, this is them blowing it up in the service of building towards the future. And you could argue whether this actually helps or hurts you in that regard, depending on how you feel about Sauce. But you get 2 first-round picks. You're 1-7. That's a sign that, number one, this team is not playing for this season. That was obvious anyway, but they can pretend all they want, but we know for a fact they're not. And that everybody is on the table. Like, you can't say nobody's on the table. It's funny. Aaron Glenn, when he was asked about the trade deadline on last week after the Bengals game, he almost said the Bill Parcells quote where he's like, anybody can be traded. For the right price, I'd trade my wife, or whatever the quote was. And then he stopped himself and didn't say that. But that's clearly true now. Like, anybody can get traded if Sauce Gardner is getting traded. So, you and I are both working the phones right now. There's other stuff, I think, brewing. I don't know. I can't say for sure that anything's going to happen, but it feels like it is. All bets are off. Like, if I was going to rank the people I thought were least likely to get traded, Sauce would have been number 2 behind Garrett Wilson. So, like, this has thrown off my my compass a little bit. But yeah, I mean, we're going to get into it right now. We'll get into it again when we do a full pod later. But like, absolutely shocking, especially when you consider that he just got signed to be a cornerstone of this team.
Yeah, we are working the phones as we speak. The other players that we are receiving calls on, who I've been told the Jets continue to receive calls on, Quinnen Williams, Jermaine Johnson, Quincy Williams, and Breece Hall. I know for a fact from talking to sources who have pursued these players and have had direct conversations with the Jets. So these are not Jets sources telling me this. These are sources who have had conversations with the Jets who are telling me what the Jets said. There is an offer on the table for Jermaine Johnson right now for a second-round pick. That's what a competing team for Jermaine Johnson has been told. There are also offers on the table for Breece Hall. The Jets have not accepted those offers yet. With Hall specifically, they are looking, I'm told, for a third-round pick. That has not been offered to them yet. Jermaine Johnson, a player who Johnson has said he met with the front office and was told he's not going to get moved. We'll see if these late offers that are coming in have softened the Jets' stance. Either way, the fact that they've traded Sauce, like you said, Zach, it signals a full-on rebuild. Now, they did get a big haul back for Gardner. We're going to talk about that. You talked about whether it was right to trade him. I'll say this, man, and it's something I don't want to stand for. I don't want to see fans tweeting about this. I don't want to see media saying it. I don't want to see any talking point on this at all. Sauce Gardner is a damn good football player. Is he the best cornerback in the NFL? Probably not. I think you can make the argument that Stingley is a better player or Surtain is a better player in Denver, but Sauce Gardner is an elite-level lockdown corner on the other side. There are few people who can do what he is capable of doing. There are few people also who have embraced being a Jet like Gardner has. Now, is he the perfect player? No. You want to see him create more turnovers, which he doesn't do. I think also with Sauce, and Sauce would probably admit this too, you have known it just from talking to him, he does care a lot about the narrative. He does care a lot about what the stat sheet says for him individually. He wants to be known as the guy that locks down corners. And when he receives criticisms for not locking down corners or receivers, he sometimes speaks out about that in spite of what you're hearing from the team. But he was an important player. This wasn't like the Jets traded a defensive tackle or a guard. They traded a player at a premium position who was still in his prime under team control for the next 5 or so years, and they moved him. And they did get a haul back, Zach, but you can make the argument that with these 2 first-round picks, they're going to have to use one on them to draft a Sauce Gardner because you don't necessarily know what they're going to be doing at corner now moving forward because they don't have that lockdown guy.
Yeah, I think that's the important point to make. I think, in theory, a heavy amount of draft picks, a heavy amount of first-round picks sounds good, but you need a hit on those picks. So they trade away Sauce Gardner for 2 first-round picks. If you turn around and let's, for example, say you draft Evan Neal with one of them. Like the Giants got an extra first-round pick when they traded back for Kadarius Toney that one year, and they turned around and drafted Evan Neal a year later, and he was an absolute disaster. So it depends on how they do it. Like Darren Muji, he's putting the pressure on himself. I understand. He comes in, he does not have an attachment to Sauce Gardner necessarily outside of the huge contract he gave him. And, they drafted Azariah Thomas this year. This gives them a chance over the second half of the season to let him live up to the potential they saw in him when they drafted him in the 3rd round. If he can become a good corner, then, you could arguably say they're okay at cornerback. You don't have an all-pro, though. So, to your point, your goal is to draft somebody who can be an all-pro in his first 2 seasons. Yeah. Your goal is to draft somebody who can be undeniably, whatever fans who soured on him think, he's a top 10 cornerback in the NFL. I think he's a top 5 cornerback in the NFL. There's certain things he wasn't doing, and he's not a perfect cornerback for sure.
Doesn't get in trouble off the field. You're never worried about suspension.
He's a good guy. He responds to tweets is the biggest, the worst thing you could say about him. Yeah. I just would not have expected this. I mean, he's young. He's in his prime. We don't know what Aaron Glenn really thought about him. Maybe they weren't as high on Sauce as we thought as they got a chance to coach him. And Aaron Glenn is going to have a hand in every decision they make. So, and Aaron Glenn knows defensive back. So, that's where in theory he does. So, that's kind of where this is rooted in. But, I'm the most curious, since we're sitting here 2 hours from the trade deadline, I'm mostly curious, if they keep blowing it up and how they do it. Like you mentioned Quinnen, I reported, I don't even know time anymore. I think it was before the Bengals game that the Jets were not seriously entertaining offers for him. And I was directly told, okay, yeah, maybe we'd take 2 or 3 first-round picks for him. Well, if that was the case then, it is not now. The last few days, they've been taking phone calls, if not calling other teams, and I would say the price has gone way down, and I think there's a part of that where I don't think Quinnen would be necessarily opposed to getting traded either. So there's layers to that. I mean that'd be the most impactful guy they could trade now because I'm not gonna maybe I'll eat my words, but I don't think they're trading Garrett Wilson. So I think Quinnen Williams would be the next biggest name to go who would net the most in a trade. And so that's the one I have my eye on. Jermaine Johnson, you mentioned, if they have a 2nd-round pick on the table, I would think they take that because I think that was their price that they were going around with, and teams were like, well, that's a little too much. There were some rumblings that the Jets were looking at acquiring certain players around the league. They weren't only looking at trading away. So, Darren Muji has been very active these last few days, Trader Darren, and I'm going to keep saying it, but I am stunned that Sauce Gardner was one of the guys that he traded. I just, I would not have predicted that. You could have given me 100 guesses and he wouldn't have been one of them.
Well, it's obviously a significant and a big move, obviously, for the Jets. And now you have a very young defensive back room that's going to need, sorry, like I said, this is every 2 seconds looking down, you hear a ding and you look at your phone. All right, sorry. Yeah, we're still looking at this bad boy. It's going to now bring forth and shed light on some of the younger players because say what you will about Sauce not getting turnovers. He was a person that you put on one side of the field or put on a receiver and you don't necessarily have to worry about him anymore. Now you do. And I will say, Zach, this wasn't an example or a situation where the Jets were shopping Sauce Gardner. This was not it. This was they received an offer they couldn't refuse. They didn't sour on him to the point they let him walk for a second-round pick. They didn't sour on him to the point where this was a player swap. This wasn't like Sauce was slamming his feet down saying, trade me, trade me, trade me. It wasn't anything like that. This was they got an offer they couldn't refuse. And yeah, there are some bugaboos within Sauce where I had heard that maybe the secondary and the coaching staff wasn't as high on him as they were when they gave him the extension. But it wasn't to the point where they're like, oh my God, send him out of town. This was, again, 2 first-round picks and a receiver drafted in the second round a year ago that the Jets just got for Sauce Gardner. So it's a significant haul. All right, you touched upon it, and we're going to get this one. There we go. Quinnen Williams to the Cowboys.
Quinnen Williams to the Cowboys. Okay,
Quinnen Williams to the Cowboys.
Wow. They get a first-round pick and more. They get a first-round pick. So the Jets have a lot of first-round picks.
Yep, there we go. Quinnen Williams to the Cowboys.
Wow.
So there we go. There's another one that we were just talking about with Quinnen Williams. All right, so Quinnen Williams now gone as well to the Dallas Cowboys, something we were talking about. We can say this now, Zach. So we got word, and there's going to be a story running on SNY that we had pre-written, so this will probably be up in about 2 seconds here. Yeah, this is...
Oh, my God. This is... You guys are getting our live reactions to this.
So that was one that we knew was sort of coming. So here's the background on Quinnen Williams. We can have this one kind of going on now. As of, I would say, Sunday afternoon, I think was originally when we got the call regarding Quinnen Williams, which, again, the story is going to be on air on SNY.TV momentarily. There have been rumors and rumblings of Quinnen Williams and potentially trading Quinnen Williams and where Quinnen Williams would go. When you took that news to the Jets, they denied it vehemently. So much so on, I got to check my call log here. This is so much so on Saturday, I was told, quote, we are not trading Quinnen Williams. We are not trading Quinnen Williams. That was the case on Saturday. Sunday evening when I was home, I got a text from a source with the Dallas Cowboys, and this is going to be in the story on SNY momentarily, which has already been written, that they were in talks with the Jets and conversations had shifted and conversations had changed. That it was no longer, we're not trading Quinnen, we need to be blown away. It was, we're willing to come to an agreement. Now, Quinnen Williams' relationship with the Jets has been deteriorating. This goes all the way back to when they made the decision to move on from Aaron Rodgers. That's when things started to change with Quinnen Williams and with the New York Jets. When Aaron Glenn was then very critical of Quinnen Williams in a one-on-one meeting and then critical of him publicly at the NFL Combine to us, that is when things truly started to spiral and spiral and spiral for Quinnen Williams and the Jets. The incessant losing has not been bad. I was told that on 3 separate occasions, Quinnen Williams requested a trade from the New York Jets. That on 3 different occasions, Quinnen requested a trade from the Jets. He let the Jets know that he had 0 plans to extend him. Again, his contract is out of guaranteed money after this year, just like $4.95 million left in guaranteed money after this year. Quinnen Williams had stressed to the Jets time and time and time again that he wanted to rework his deal, wanted to rework the deal. The Jets rebuffed that. The losing, a deterioration of a relationship with Aaron Glenn got Quinnen Williams to the point where he said, I want to be gone. Now, the Jets denied this when I asked them that, but I had heard from a source very close to Quinnen Williams that he actually met with members of the Jets brass, Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn, and said he wanted to go out. The meeting did not go particularly well, and Quinnen wasn't sure he was actually going to get traded. Now, they have obviously reached an agreement here with the Dallas Cowboys. He's reunited with Aaron Whitecott, his defensive line coach, who he was very, very close with the New York Jets. They are reunited, and Dallas obviously reloading there with Quinnen.
Yeah, so I just tweeted pretty much what you were saying, too. I heard that, and he was telling pretty much anybody close to him that he was unhappy and that he wanted to be traded. You had the reporting that he requested that directly. He's someone that, like you mentioned, the Rodgers thing was the start of this, and I don't think he ever really warmed up to this new regime. And, he's a guy that, frankly, Quinnen Williams deserves a chance to play for a winner. The Cowboys aren't a winner right now, but, he's been a leader on this team. He's been somebody that's loved by pretty much everybody in that locker room. And he's had to deal with drama and dysfunction and losing for his entire career, and now he's on the move. And so, I wouldn't be surprised if we get news shortly that Jermaine is also on the move. This is a complete tear it down, get assets, look for the future. And, we haven't seen one quite to this degree. I can't remember a team trading multiple guys for first round picks in one season before. Like has to be the first time that's happened. So this is it's gonna be a new look team when we walk in that locker room this week. I'm not as shocked about the Quinnen one, especially with the noise over the last few days.
Yeah,
especially with
I
knowing
heard from a source with the Cowboys on him on Sunday, and
I'd heard that there were some other teams in on him in the last like 24 hours. And that he was floated as, I think, a player for player deal for somebody interesting that I don't think I can reveal. But I would just say this is this is a new Jets team. I mean, if you just want to look up here in terms of personnel and who's the core of this team going forward, you lose two of your core pieces, two of your foundational pieces that you're building around. If you trade Jermaine, that's a third. And I don't know who you can point to on this roster and be like, outside of Garrett Wilson, and be like, that's a building block. Like nobody that you can say locked in as a building block for this team going forward. And I think, Garrett, any talk that you that's what I'm saying. So any talk that, and I feel like you and I have both said this, you look at the roster, you could be like, okay, I could see a scenario where they start to be competitive in 2026. You get a quarterback that's better than Justin Fields, and you have these pieces on defense. You have Garrett Wilson. You fill out the roster. Now, I don't know that you could even say they're going to be competitive in 2026 because you're trying to find guys that are the caliber of Quinnen and Sauce Gardner now. I don't blame Muji for going and getting a lot of first-round picks, but this is the state of the team.
This is a rebuild, man. This is a full-on rebuild. And now I will say this about Quinnen again, that we're reacting to this one in real time, waiting for a couple of text messages to come in. I should hit up the my Cowboys source real quick. Thoughts on Quinnen? ? Here's the difference between Sauce and Quinnen Williams. Quinnen wanted out. Quinnen was done. This was a situation where, again, I was told on 3 separate occasions, Quinnen asked for a fresh start from the Jets. He was. I think there was the possibility earlier in the season where when his representatives went to the Jets and said, "Hey, you did Sauce, you did Garrett, let's rework Quinnen as well," and the Jets basically were like, "Yeah, that's not happening." That was something where I can't read that one on air. I would say that the Dallas Cowboys are very, very happy to have Quinnen Williams, but that specific message cannot go on, cannot be read at the moment. But with Quinnen, he was done. So he was done with the Jets, and he was ready to move on from the Jets, and he wanted a fresh start. And I will say, Zach, you and I talked about this. I got a call from somebody with the Cowboys, and I touched upon this very, very early, that before Micah Parsons was traded, there was very informal discussions between the Cowboys and the Jets where Quinnen Williams was originally discussed. And it was the first time that the Cowboys were made aware that Quinnen Williams might be available. I can tell you that they have kept in contact with him over and over and over and over and over again, so much so that I had dinner with a source on the Cowboys when the Giants played there, and I was out in Dallas for that game, and he told me, do not be surprised when Quinnen Williams is a Dallas Cowboy. And this was week 2. So here we are now at the deadline, and it is officially done. But Quinnen Williams was just done with the Jets, and he wanted a fresh start. That wasn't necessarily the case with Sauce Gardner. All right, moving on here now, guys that'll come. So Sauce Gardner's gone. Quinnen Williams is gone. I haven't seen the compensation yet for what they gave up. What did you guys give up? Do you know? I don't know. I haven't seen yet what the compensation is.
Yeah.
You said it's a first-round pick, right?
Yeah, first-round pick. I'm trying to find out what it is.
Let me ask the Jets, too.
It's, again, the Cowboys' first-rounder. So it sounds like...
Just a 1?
It might just be a 1 this year, which is pretty valuable considering the Cowboys do not have a good record. So if that's the case. I'm still trying to find out if that's accurate, though.
2 this year. It's a 2 this year and a second 1 next year? Oh, 2 twos. 2 twos.
Are you sure?
Hold on. 2 second-rounders? 2 this year, our second 1 next year.
They have two first-round picks next year because they have the Packers pick, so that's probably what that means. So they're giving up their 1 next year.
How about this in real time? You guys are getting a little peek back on how this text messaging works.
On how text messaging
text read 2 this year, our second 1 next year. That's what the text reads exactly. So the Jets haven't told me yet.
Yeah. but he's saying a second round pick this year and a first next year. So,
Oh, 2 and a 1 for Quinnen Williams is what they got?
I mean, according to the text message you just read, yes. But I think it's just the one next year. First round pick and more. Okay.
All right. Zach, you just want to so the only other information that I have real quick, because we're going to wrap up on this so I can try to get some of this information done. Jermaine Johnson, I've been told there's a second round pick on the table for him right now. Breece Hall, we'll see if he is moved. Right now, the Jets have a 4th round pick that I've been told they've been offered for him. They were holding steadfast at 3. If Quinnen and Sauce are gone, what are you holding on to Breece for? Like, I just don't understand that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I could see Breece getting traded now, but wait, here's the price: 2026 second, 2027 first. So what you have is accurate. Yeah. Wow, that's a package. Okay. Should we wrap up there?
As read on, yeah, sorry. SMY. Sorry, this is like. Yeah, Zach, you want to wrap it for me? Sorry, I got to get this out. Yeah, can you wrap, Zach, do the wrap up on this? Sorry.
All right, thank you guys for tuning. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're gonna probably come back with another pod later today. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say. I have to get to work, but thank you guys for tuning in. Crazy day in Jets history, and
there we go. Thank you, Zach. That's going to do it for Jets Final Drive. We're going to be back. Sorry, I got that tweet out. We're going to be back in just a little bit with the actual episode after the deadline. So once this all wraps up and we know who's gone, who's staying, and it doesn't seem like a lot of people are staying, we'll have everything wrapped up. Keep an eye on Jermaine Johnson. Keep an eye on Breece Hall. Quinnen Williams gone. Sauce Gardner gone. Thank you guys for watching and in real time seeing how this works on SNY's Jets Final Drive. We'll see you guys in a little bit.